Hey YouTube, I'm back with another review video. This is now my third one. Surprisingly, I'm actually proper surprised I've been carrying on with them. I've quite enjoyed doing it though. So far, I've had my favourite film from my childhood, which was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And then I did Marvel. And if anyone is still interested in if they want any more review videos on the Marvel, I'll gladly do it. But tonight's one is, and for those of you who know me, it's probably the most obvious one I can do. So tonight's review video is on my favourite television series that has been around since 1963 and is going to be going in its 60th anniversary next year. Tonight's review, Doctor Who. If I had a confetti cannon, I'd probably light it. So, usually I'll just do a bit of background like what I did the last time. So, I've been watching Doctor Who since 2005. My first episode was Boomtown, featuring Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor, who was the ninth Doctor at the time. So I was a little late on the series by more than half, pretty much actually. More than half. I think I was like 10 episodes late into it. Totally worth it. And basically, ever since then, all I've done is just watch it. So, so yeah, I started watching it in 2005. I started watching the classic Doctors from 2007 because, and this is daft, this is literally going to sound daft to every single Doctor Who fan, I didn't even know there was a bunch of other Doctors. I had no idea. I mean, I just thought, yeah, a man in a spaceship, he can change his face, and that's it. That's all he does. He changes his face, but nope. Turns out, I really didn't know a lot then. So, 2007 was when I started watching the classic Doctors. So my first classic one was actually the first Doctor, and my episode with him was the Time Meddler, which is actually one of my favourite episodes of him, of William Hartnell, because he was the very first Doctor who was the first in the role. And back in the 60s, it was so much different than what it is now. Like, back in the 60s, it was all black and white, like black and white television, and I think the term that they use, Technicolor, that didn't come around until 1970 with John Pertwee. And, well, basically, like I said, with my background, I have got every single Doctor on DVD, including all of their episodes. And from what I saw from someone on Instagram the other day, there are 300 episodes, and I was quite surprised to see that. And this isn't including the like four parters. These are just like the stories all in all together, with being a number. So there's 300 of them. They've got the recent Doctors episode coming up on Sunday the 23rd of October. If anyone is watching this later. I will be watching that, obviously. And I'm actually quite looking forward to it. It's a regeneration episode, and I have literally been binge watching for like since I'm gonna say Tuesday. I have been rewatching every single one of the regeneration episodes, or if they didn't have their own one, I've been watching the final episode of that Doctor. So, from 1963 to now, 2022, there have been officially 15 Doctors on screen, from what I can gather, because we've got Jodie Whittaker now, who is playing the 13th Doctor, and then we had John Hurt in 2013 playing the War Doctor, and then Joe Martin playing the Fugitive Doctor in Series 12. So 15 Doctors altogether so far, and we're either welcoming back a former Doctor this Sunday or the brand new Doctor played by Ncuti Gatwa, which I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. Like, as a Doctor Who fan, I always try to give the new Doctors a chance, and it's not easy to adapt to them, because every time I see a regeneration and a brand new Doctor, I'm thinking, nope, get off the screen. But then you get used to them after, like, literally 2 episodes, maybe. So, like, literally, I don't even know what else I can say about Doctor Who. I've loved it since I first watched it. There have been some episodes where I've thought, no, could be a lot stronger. Whereas there's some episodes that have just been there for me. They've just done it. Like, even the classic days from the 60s to the 90s, like, most of them have just blew my mind. Like, when I was younger and collecting the DVDs, the classics, I was very particular, very specific. Now, the last time I did a video, I mentioned about doing stuff in order. I like stuff in a certain way. With the classics, it was not like that at all. It was actually really, really random. So I would always go for the episodes that featured Daleks or Cybermen or even the Master or a regeneration episode or just one that looked really cool. Which was quite a few of them. But collecting them for me, it took a long time. So I mentioned that my first classic episode was in 2007 with the Time Meddler. That was my first classic DVD. And then for years it continued. Like I didn't always collect them. Like, I just got some of them because they looked really good or for a specific reason. Because in my time, I have actually met 4 Doctors. I've met Colin Baker, who did the 6th, Peter Davison, who did the 5th, and then Sylvester McCoy, the 7th, and Paul McGann, the 8th. And I'm hoping, really, really hoping, that I get to meet 3 more of them in the upcoming month. And if I don't, I'll be really gutted. I hope I do, but we'll see. But no, from 2007, I was just collecting the DVDs. I was going through a thing, really. And it was, when would it have been? It was last year in January, I think it was, or February, I finished every single one. And my last 2 were 2 of the 5th Doctor. So, reason why I started collecting more of them was obviously because, like, I love Doctor Who, but when I found out that I was going to be getting the opportunity to meet one of the Doctors, that was it for me. I just thought, right, this is a time now where I've got to get up. I've got to get up. I've got to up my game with it. Like, there's so many more episodes than the ones I've already just watched, and they could be just as good. So, that was in 2017, that was, when I started getting a few more of them. Like, I'd obviously gotten more of them previous before that. I'm not sure how many, but, no, basically from 2017, it literally continued on there. I was not off Amazon. Like I even got myself Amazon Prime. It was bad. It was really bad. It was like an addiction or something. That's the best way I can describe it. A Doctor Who obsessed classic addiction collector. And yeah, it just carried on from there. Really, I got I got so many of them, so I started getting more of the Sixth Doctor, and after that, I went more into the third, and yeah, it just carried on from there. Really, like I finished them fully last year. Well, actually, no, technically, it was probably this year because like for those who keep up with Doctor Who, obviously, there are some episodes from the '60s that are missing, which is a real big shame. I mean, from what I know about them, is that they were shown on TV, but then soon after that, somehow I don't know, the recordings went missing, including the audios and the pictures from the BBC archives. Most of them are still there, but then there's about maybe 11 or 12 episodes still missing, mostly from the first Doctor's era, and just a couple from the second Doctor, because they have actually been managing to do more of them, but honestly, I don't know if any more are going to get done, because I heard that BBC America have pulled out the funding now. So they're giving up with that, which is a real big shame, because I'd have personally loved to see the rest of those DVDs made, and hopefully one day they will be. I'd like to still be alive when that happens. But no, the episodes are fantastic. Like they really, really are. So I've also had other people asking me this as well. Who's my favourite Doctor? And I've always said classic. And oh, what's that word now? I can't think. But from today's Doctors from 2005 to now, my favourite one has been David Tennant. Like, when he first came on the screen after the regeneration with Christopher Eccleston, I had no idea who David was. I literally had no clue. I hadn't. I didn't really watch that much stuff of like TV wise back then, or like film wise. Like everything that I watched back then was either like maybe just a little bit of kids programs or like a little bit of Disney. So I never really saw anything with David Tennant in it. But like throughout of his time as the Doctor, obviously I watched all of them. I watched all of his episodes, and yeah, he was really really good, and that's why he's my favorite. Like I loved his storylines. Like I loved the companions he travelled with, and basically I connected with him on a level that like that's probably why I kept on watching Doctor Who, because the thing with David Tennant was that I don't know, his acting skills and the comedy of his episodes and the seriousness, like that's what drove you into it, and the enemies he faced as well, and it was just fantastic. But when it comes to the classic Doctors, now I've always said Tom Baker, but I'm also torn between John Pertwee as well, because like John Pertwee was the one who brought in Doctor Who in colour on the TV, and like he had these really fancy karate moves and stuff, like Venusian Aikido, I think it was called, and like he faced a lot of really good aliens on Earth, mainly for like the first 2-3 years, I think it might have been, as well as like on other planets. And like his Doctor, he brought in the Master, like, and that's like a really big milestone for that to happen. But then Tom Baker with the jelly babies and the very long scarf, God knows how he didn't trip up in that. Like, if they have any outtakes or like behind the scenes of him tripping up in that, I'd love to see it because that'd be funny. But no, basically, like, I can't also choose between which Doctor I love the most because every single one of them is fantastic. Like, even the black and white days, like, they were just as good. Like, I know they may have been a little bit low tech and camera quality not always that great, but the episodes were still really, really good. Even going forward in time, like with the Doctors in the 80s, they were really good as well. Like, most of them had very good stories, as well as, like, I mean, they don't do it now as often as what they did then, but they also had like multi-Doctor episodes. So 1973 was the three Doctors for the 10th anniversary, and then 10 years later, the five Doctors, and then back in 84 they had the two Doctors again. So, like, it was, well, the episodes were just really fantastic, and you've only had a couple of them with this era, like with David Tennant and Peter Davison, and then you had Peter Capaldi and David Bradley, who came in as the first Doctor, and that was really good. I enjoyed that. But no, like, with every Doctor Who episode I've watched, I've either been really surprised about it, or I've just been like, maybe not this one for me, but I still like it, or I've just, like, had that little bit of disappointment. Some of them were with a certain Doctor. I'm not going to say the name because that's bad. But some of them episodes were a little bit disappointing, and they could have been improved. But just everything about Doctor Who for me has always been amazing, and quite frankly, I don't know how long it's going to go on for. I hope it goes on for quite a while. I mean, I thought that it was ending in 2020 from what I heard of rumours and stuff, but that's clearly not true. But like I said, the 60th anniversary is approaching next year. David Tennant's coming back for that, and then Ncuti will be coming in after him. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing what he can do, because obviously now we've had the first female Doctor, but, like, for history, this one is the first black Doctor, and quite frankly, I feel like this is something they could have done a lot earlier. Like, I heard from rumours that after the fourth Doctor, they were going to bring in a female for the Doctor, or they would have done it for the remake in 2005. And I'm just thinking, well, why not do that earlier? Why didn't they think about it? Or even bringing in a black actor? Because, like, we're all about diversity these days, like equality and diversity. And quite frankly, I reckon Ncuti Gat was going to make a really good Doctor. Like, personally, I don't care about whether an actor is black or white or gay or straight. If they are playing Doctor Who, I will always give them a chance, because, like, at the end of the day, I'm not going to let one reason as to why that person is different as to why I shouldn't watch Doctor Who. Like, I've been watching it since 2005. I've carried on watching it, and I don't really see why I shouldn't stop. But as reviews go, the episode that's coming up, I'm actually looking forward to it. It's going to be called The Power of the Doctor. Very similar to the 1966 episode The Power of the Daleks. I noticed that. Obviously. But it's got the Daleks, the Cybermen, and the Master coming back in it again. featuring the next regeneration, and it's also Mandip Gill's and Dan Bishop's final episode as well as Geordie's, and I reckon it's going to be quite an emotional one because, like, I don't know, that I've just got that feeling that it can be an emotional one. And based on the regeneration episodes that I've also been recently watching, it's just so weird to go back and watch them all again, and knowing how far this show has came along. It's been absolutely fantastic from day one, and quite frankly, I'm glad it never stopped. Well, apart from that big massive gap from 85 and then the 90s gap for a while. Whoops. That was one hell of a long gap. But no, it's a really amazing show, and quite frankly, if I didn't watch that show, I've got no idea what the hell I would be watching. It's just fantastic, and I can't wait to see the future of it, really. And I hope it goes on for a long, long time. I also have recently applied to be in it. There was this thing on Twitter that said, get your 15 minutes of fame, or 15 seconds, and you could apply to be a part of an alien in Doctor Who. So I thought, why the hell not? Because you can only get one of these chances. Personally as well, I'd love to be the Doctor, but I honestly don't know if that could happen. I mean, never say never. Literally, never say never. I'm not gonna, dash my dreams for that. I really hope it would happen. If it did, then I'd literally pinch myself. But I'll come to the end of it. So, I said that I had favourite Doctors from the past and favourite Doctors from the present, but I also never mentioned favourite episodes. So, I'm going to choose one from each Doctor, and that is going to be random. Maybe. So, first Doctor, Time Meddler. Fantastic episode. 1965, I think that one was in. Fantastic episode. My first one. Loved it since day one. Second Doctor's episode, I would have to say probably, I'm going to say The Evo of the Daleks. It came out on DVD last year after having all of those years away, because it was one of the lost ones, and it was an amazing episode. Third Doctor, got to be Planet of the Spiders. I know, when people say spiders, you're thinking, what the hell are you thinking? But honestly, it was a fantastic episode, and that was my first one of the third Doctor, Planet of the Spiders, because it was on TV one time, and it was brilliant. Really was. It was a regeneration episode as well, so I was quite surprised. Fourth Doctor, I would say. Well, you see, that's a tricky one for the Fourth Doctor's episode. Jesus. Oh no, wait, I remember. Destiny of the Daleks. That was my favourite one, because second appearance of Davros, and it was a really good episode. That one was actually my first episode of him too. For the fifth Doctor, it was the five Doctors. It just had to be. You brought in the other four Doctors, and despite it being my first episode of Peter, it was just really fantastic. I love that episode. I'll watch it 1,000 times if I have to. Sixth Doctor, my favourite episode of him was The Two Doctors, because it brought back Patrick Troughton again. The second Doctor, and it was a really good one, that was. I really enjoyed it. Seventh Doctor, Battlefield. Definitely Battlefield, without a doubt. brought back the Brigadier, and it was quite a really good episode. The Eighth Doctor, you've only got the movie, which is a shame about that, but it's still fantastic. And you've got the Night of the Doctor as well. That also features Paul, but it was still fantastic. Ninth Doctor. My favourite episode of him was oh dear. I'd say probably I'd say Bad Wolf. Because it's quite a fun episode. It was my second one of Christopher Eccleston's Doctor. It was my second episode of him, and it was the first time that I saw the Daleks in that episode and the Weakest Link episode. I got a little bit put off by that with that show afterwards. 10th Doctor. This is a difficult one. I'm going to say The Stolen Earth and Journey's End. It was like a two-parter episode, but it was absolutely fantastic, that one. Oh my god, it always got me welling up. Always wells me up, that one. It's emotional, it's the music. It's definitely the music. 11th Doctors. What would I say it is for the 11th Doctor? That's a difficult one, that is. I'm literally going to be thinking about this for a while now. Oh, Hell's Teeth. You know what? Actually, I'm going to say Victory of the Daleks. It was the third episode of Matt Smith, and I was really impressed by it. It was a hell of a good episode. Like, it was one that I was really intrigued with as well at that time, because at that point I was getting used to Matt Smith as the Doctor, and I'm just like, no, who are you? But then again, his episode of the Daleks, fantastic, loved it. 12th Doctor. Actually, I'm gonna say the Doctor Falls for the 12th Doctor. That was his next to last episode, and it featured the Cybermen and two versions of the Master, including Missy, and yeah, I really loved that one. Like, it was a shame that it had to be the one that I loved towards the end of his tenure, but it was just a really good episode, and actually my main favourite of that. And then for the 13th Doctor, the final one so far, well, I'd say I've got two of hers, actually. I'm going to go with Kablam, which was in Series 11, and then one in Series 12, Fugitive of the Jadoon. Like, both fantastic episodes. One of them featured Captain Jack Harkness coming back, John Barrowman, and they were really just good episodes that actually stood out for me, the most of it. So yeah, that's what I'd say. Hopefully I'll be able to look back as well and say which one of my favourite episodes was of Ncuti one day, and maybe other future Doctors, whoever else takes the role. I know I said that I'd also want to be the Doctor myself, and as ambitious as that was, I also had predictions of who could be the next Doctor, male and female. So I had Michael Sheen, who also was known as Arrow from the Twilight films, or Olivia Colman, who most people know who worked with David Tennant in Broadchurch, or Queen Elizabeth II in The Crown on that Netflix show. I thought like both of those actors would have been a great choice. There was always lots of rumours about who it could be, or who it wouldn't be. But no, I'm happy with who they've got, and literally all the best to him. And that is me for another YouTube video. Hope you've liked what you've seen. If you want to see any more videos, come up with suggestions, and like and subscribe. Night, guys. See you later.